Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Biachino, who is not here. He does not have internet. Only would be his cell phone internet or mobile, but that's not good enough to do a live stream on. So just me. He does have power, though, in case you are wondering. Good afternoon, Jacob. Sorry for anybody just tuning in for Bob. You can stick around to see what I have to say, though. Hey, hey, waka waka. At least in the S&P, well, the SPX hit new lows, but I tend to focus on the futures, and they did hodl. Remember, it's month end tomorrow, so you'll get squaring up. Not only for month end, you can get squaring up, and since it's been a decline in the month end, it does favor some squaring to the long side. Also, what was else was I gonna? Oh, it's also Friday. That's what I was gonna say. So, any since we've had some downward pressure, additional shorts, at least for the short term, will look to be covered into the weekend. So don't get caught off guard by some squaring up potentially tomorrow. Don't even bother with the person. I'm just going to say the person who shall not be named Waka Waka. Hello, Connor. Hello, Patrick. I'm back in the saddle. Bob's not. Hello, AP. By the way, hello, Daniel. If the market rallies tomorrow, that would be madness. Why would that be madness, Christoph? Remember, it's a mad world. Double bottom. Yes, we are going to go through the double bottoms. There were some really nice trades today, too, also. The NASDAQ did not hold. However, remember, NASDAQ is more volatile than S&P. S&P, by the way, I've done a ton of testing, S&P versus NASDAQ. S&P tests out percentage points higher than the NASDAQ for patterns. Keep that in mind because NASDAQ generally has your tech stuff, your overreaction garbage stuff, it's easier to get in on the NASDAQ than it is being listed in the S&P, except for stuff like Tesla. So, and also remember, as Waka Waka is pointing out, and it's on the screen behind me, we have big data out tomorrow. Oh, hey, Sterling's here. Let's call it a day. In case you miss, again, and our system works, Sterling is running the Path Trading Partners Twitter feed. So if you're wondering the context for that, Sterling does this on his own. I literally don't have time to do. I do the live streaming YouTube, of course. I am here. This is the real Mike, not some imposter. But in terms of the Twitter stuff, Sterling, from the goodness of his heart and because he believes in what we do here, puts that out. So everybody do thank Sterling, and he wants you to know our system works. Hey Ted, you should look at ES. That's I catch up to stuff, and again, look at ES first. It's why I cover it first. That's why it's covered out of the majors. It's why it's covered first. It is the most reliable, and lots of times you will get divergences. Another nice signal. Now, there's no guarantee yet, but the NASDAQ has broken down below the June lows. The S&P on the futures have not. So that would be a indice, and also the Dow has. But the S&P, which S&P 500, which is a pretty decent sample size, has not, and that's where we could get some divergences because you do get overreactions, especially in the Dow because it's only 30 stocks and the NASDAQ being the NASDAQ. As Rich pointed out, NASDAQ is too volatile. No, I wouldn't say too volatile. It is more volatile and tends to overshoot, and it tends to be more emotional because a lot of retail traders focus on the NASDAQ and the stocks in the NASDAQ more so than the S&P, besides Tesla, which is Tesla. I did not take a look at BIIB today, but I'm glad it was influential. You are right, Mike. Stop trading, investing NASDAQ, S&P doesn't wick you out as nearly as much. So I find it helpful. NASDAQ can be traded. You have to use a little wider stops, and it can be due to overreaction. So I also watch, especially for patterns on the S&P. So our system works. You guys are nuts. We love trading NASDAQ. Made a fun play today. And I'm not saying don't trade the NASDAQ. I'm saying keep the don't discount the S&P. And S&P, you could generally get some better patterns on. Let's see. Took one of the double bottoms today. Since Bob's not here, I think the bond market crash in the UK could happen here soon. I'm not as sold on that. I think I think that we are going to have some ripple stuff with the bank, but not to the extent as it's going to be in the UK. There's some stuff we could see with rumblings with Switzerland also, and we'll probably see some more disasters coming up in the ECB, somewhere in the Euro Union, coming up way before the US. This market is a nail biter. Super frustrating. Why is it super frustrating? You just wait for the setups, and if they don't appear, what do you want? Do you want it just to tank down? That wouldn't be as much fun. Yeah, so you give a big shout out to Sterling. What double bottoms don't work in this market? Yeah, they do. My English stocks went up as much as my US-based stocks went down. I'm done with the NASDAQ, S&P all the way. I like tight stops. I like tight stops, and I cannot lie. There we go. 22-23 will be known as a great pension crash. I think we're going to have more so in 23. We're going to see some significant ripple effects in the U.S. with banks and investment banks, but I think that'll hold off a little longer here. Hey, Nas Industry. So let's go through stuff tomorrow. Again, by the way, before we get to that, if you are new here, and I constantly see new faces coming in, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button, and supporting the channel just by being here, putting in your comments, and put them in after the live stream so we get more and more people. We're trying to help as many people as possible, and there is so much garbage out of there. By the way, I'm seeing stuff on even some decent mainstream stuff. Talking, yeah, we had a brutal tick this morning. Lots of sell programs going off, which is not surprising. Again, Fed were reiterating they're not backing down, but it was not capitulation. This was not capitulation. Please, people, I'm tired of people throwing around crash and capitulation every friggin' down day. This was not capitulation. Do some friggin' research. And if you don't know, or you don't have a system that identifies capitulation, stop throwing out the friggin' word every time we have increased selling pressure. Please. Come on, man. Oh. Tomorrow. Core PCE price index year over year. So we have some of this. We have core PCE month over month. We got Barkin speaking right at 7:30 with the key numbers. This is a biggie. Remember, from today there was some PCE data coming out from the PCE prices quarter over quarter, which was still high, and then the core PCE missed the upside. Tomorrow we got more PCE coming out. Personal income, personal spending will be interested, and then let's trot out all the Fed speakers 30 minutes before the open. After the open, we have Chicago PMI minor, but I'm watching where it sits in relation to that 50. Then, still expecting this to be strong. Consumer sentiment next month will be interesting. Remember, you still consumer sentiment. You still have gas prices going down into this one, and summer. Summer makes everybody feel better. Now we're going to go into other things. Then we got inflation expectations, which is, I don't know why people give this credibility. First of all, you know where inflation is going to be in 5 years? I sure as crap don't. And like the general public, you're interviewing, it's just a stupid number. Then we got Bowman, and we got Williams after the close, but well, still futures are open. But really, 7:30, then 8 a.m. Central. It was a red day. Mega caps getting hit. Apple, we had the downgrade on that. Apple closed below 62.5. So even if we get a bounce on Apple, watching, I've been talking lower prices on Apple for a while. It's just getting the timing right. So we did close below that 62.5. So we should see the return to 87. Tesla taking it in the shorts. But look at your mega caps today. There was some end of month. I chalk some of this up to end of month moves because they were oversized moves going into that. Oil, we had that nice little oil bounce hitting that double bottom targets. And I don't want to hear double bottoms don't work. They do work. It's just your time frame. Yes, when you have a strong downward market, the probabilities do drop a little on double bottoms. Just like in a strong upwards market, double top probabilities drop a little. But overall, you don't know which ones are going to work, which ones don't, and you have the probabilities in your favor. Speaking of probabilities, 62.5% probability that we're still seeing the 75 basis point. The Fed not backing down from their hawkish rhetoric, still in negative gamma territory. Fear and greed still at 15. Remember, S&P futures did not break the June lows. Cash did, but we go off the futures because it tests out better than the cash. Micron and Nike after today. I know Nike beat on revenue. I did not get a chance to peek in at Micron. So if anybody has Nike and Micron results, they can stick them in there. Also, pretty decent still buying. Let me take this off. You see here, June low buying, retesting. I mean, we did not close. When I meant the S&P futures, we did not close below the June lows yet. That's what I'm talking about. We've both broken. I misspoke there. We did not close below the June lows yet. That's what I'm watching for. The NASDAQ. What was I confused today? I must be off on my game. NASDAQ did not retest the June. Well, the S&P broke. I was misspeaking. Sorry. S&P broke yesterday and today. The NASDAQ did not. Neither of them have closed yet below their June lows. Oh, it's been one of those days. Let's take a look at the markets. By the way, we do have speaking of double bottoms, there was a really nice double bottom going into the close. We finally got back down below the 87.5, so those probabilities are done. Remember, from the close below the 62.5. Does that mean we can't go lower? No, but we fulfilled the probabilities with that. We had this double bottom. You can see here, there were the targets. I used conservative targets. Why? They also lined up at this little ledge really nicely. Boy, I'm just, my head. It's been a long week. I can't wait for tomorrow to be off. And yes, this is a 4-hour. We have a couple other things. This is a potential 1-hour double bottom. All right. You'd need at least a 1-hour close above 36.7250. And I'm watching first and foremost the first and second targets. First target 36.93, second target 37.03. Final targets into the wicks. Now, oh boy, Somebody want to take over for me running this stuff? Because, boy, it's just... I am worn out. Here's why I'm also focusing on the second target. Look at the second target. We're at 62.5. You gotta love these things. You gotta just love this. Hey, Sterling, does the system work? And that's not a guarantee that every trade will work. There are probabilities involved. We're not promoting trading, by the way. We're promoting proper analysis and learning something. And apply some of these techniques to your own stuff. I don't care how you trade, but some of these techniques can help you. Look at the second target with the 62.5. So you get the close above the 62.5. Well, then, of course, I'm going to hit that third target. But look, that hits the 87.5. And look where the 87.5 is. Huh. Look at this. Oh, you got to love this stuff. That's why learn Harmonics. It will help. And then, sorry, this is a potential, just as the 1 hour was a potential. If we slam down tonight, that could be off the table. 4 hour potential. You get a 4 hour close, and you could try this with a 1 hour. I will go down one time frame. Remember, you want to try to do about a separation of 4 on your time frames. But 37.51.25, a 4 or a 1 hour close above there. Prefer 4 hour. Then you get your bigger corrective move. And here I have the next set of harmonics on here. Look at the first target here, 62.5, and the stop reduction target. Now, these are two separate things, but you get a close above the 62.5. We have the double targets first and foremost, but then you get a close above the 62.5 at that stop reduction. Then it could be a return to probabilities. Favor a return to 38.95. So we have a roadmap to the upside. And then, just for point of completeness, you keep moving on up. You go ratchet back. Give an instruction here. Then let's just pretend it kept rallying. Because can these micro moves turn into a bigger move? Yes. But this 1 hour double bottom, let's say, I want to do something hypothetically. Let's say this 1 hour double triggers, the 4 hour triggers. And let's just say it keeps rallying. And we get the close above 39.64, which would then favor probabilities to return to 4104 area, 4100, 4104. Did this double bottom on the 1 hour predict this? This is what other uninformed channels and people who don't know any better are saying because they've never done probabilities on their stuff. They're like, yeah, we bought this double bottom and it went up to 4100. No. Because you go test your double bottoms on a 1 hour time frame back in history, it does not predict a move from 36, let's just call it 36.75 to 4100. It does not, because if you look at the average moves off double bottoms, it's nowhere near that. But uninformed channels will say, look, you just do this and it predicted this. No, it didn't. So stop misleading people, you idiot. So that's how you ratchet up the stuff. And that's how you can roll if you're looking to try to capture bigger moves. That's how you roll stuff forward and not the whole position. Or you take the double, unwind. If your next thing triggers, you put it back on a trade. Unwind. If the next thing triggers, you put on another trade. There are multiple ways to trade this. Now, to the downside, since you got to analyze both sides, Let me do the reverse harmonics first. So if we break below 36.12, minor 35.95, more significant 35.78, and then 35.57. That's where in my major area, 35.56, 35.57. My major thing would be I'd be watching before this 35.56. The weekly now moves still continuing to march up. I'd really be focusing on this area on a closing basis. On a spike basis, it would be 35.56. If we did get a capitulation move, as I talked earlier in this week, it would need to be below 3,500. And we just happen to have harmonics there. But so far, it's holding up. Now let me get back. Let me see. What was this? When bounce? Well, I just went over the potential signals for that. Apple, well, you'll see Apple come into line. Don't worry, George. We'll peek at Bitcoin. I'll take over streams for you, Path Trading Associate. You gonna take over streams for me? All right. You know what? Hey, if anybody wants to consider doing some streaming on this, show me what you got. Again, I'll take on guests too. If you want to join me on camera, you gotta come on camera, like with the Magic Bob button. But if somebody else wants to jump on at some point and give me your thoughts, I'll welcome people. Again, we're trying to teach. Apple is a joke, but they do. Yes, they do hold a staggering amount of money, and you have a lot of entrenched Apple people that it's not as bad as Tesla, but you have our entrenched Apple people. Let's jump over. Oh boy. Sterling, you're wearing me out. By the way, we did have doubles on the VIX today. Really nice double bottom with the market sell off. Nice little double top, which you can use to help time counter moves. Again, double bottom for continuing bearish, double top for potentially turning bullish. Again, on this platform is sometimes a little off with the doubles. It's slightly different, and I don't know why, but some people's doubles on the 1 hour double top did trigger. It's confirmed. It is not officially triggered on this one, but it is confirmed. So, and look at this with the targets and your gap fill. Remember, the gap is to the close, not to the open. So, it's confirmed. We start trading in this with the gap fill and the double tomorrow. Guess what? We got potentially month-end the bullish plays. There you go. And look where that takes us. Back to the rising rotation zone. I'm glad you like Fibonacci. Harmonics test out better than Fibonacci. And I know I used Fibonacci for quite a while before I compared it to Harmonics. But it is close. It's a few percentage points less, but it is close. Oh, look, I catch up. You don't even need me on this stream anymore. Do you guys want to take it over, guys and gals? Because we have some very good female traders here. I just use guys as a catch-all. Probably shouldn't do that anymore. So sorry if I offended anybody. It's very easy. Just go to the 12.5% increments. And all right, so a fib level is 23, what, 23.6? The harmonic is 25. The fib level's 38.3, the harmonic's 37.5. They both use the 50s. The fib is 61.8, the harmonic is 62.5. You got two harmonics, 74 something and 76 something. I don't remember them off the top of my head because I don't use them. 76.2 or 3, but you use the 75 harmonic. I don't know the fib number if there is one around the 87.5, but 87.5 is key. If there is one, it's just because I think sometimes the fibs they've tried to find fib numbers that work close to the harmonics without realizing that's what they were doing. I really do appreciate people willing. See, this is, you can put in stuff like I like fibs better, and people can trade with fibs all day long. At least be open to learning. And then if you say, I still like fibs better, fine. Great. Just as long as you don't come on here and say markets only do one thing, then we're fine. I want people to learn, and if you got something to teach me all you want. I've never stopped learning. What would invalidate a double bottom? Another clear rotation back up. So, for example, now let me just go with this one. All right. If it comes back down, here's the easy thing to do. If you, based off the amount up, it's gone. If you come back down below this 36, 32, not even on a closing basis, it's over. It's then a triple. There's a rough way to just know. The magic sterling. We need a magic sterling. Maybe sterling will come on some point. Oh, wouldn't that be priceless? We should have sterling on. Could somebody report that, please? It means we're getting more successful. Could somebody report it? I can't do it through, I'm streaming on Ecamm right now, and I wish they had a button to just report that. I'd have to go to YouTube. Hey, it's a good sign. It's aggravating as all get out, but at least we're popular enough to warrant spam. Think of it that way. Oh, good point. Well, no, he might. You know what? I've seen some trolls that are. You'd be surprised at some trolls in their age. But no, if he was 13 years old, I'm not gonna have any. If you're under 18, I'm not having you on a live stream. That would not be prudent. Thank you for reporting it. Thank you. More people that report it, the better. Does he? Well, at some point he might get more views once the market rebounds because he'll say at some point he was right. Oh, yes, we missed you, Coco. Where have you been? Where have you been? It hasn't been the same without you telling me that anybody bearish was an idiot. Again, I'm not competing with people. It's just I just don't like people interrupting the live stream with garbage. You can give me your thoughts. You can say, hey, I have an entry based off this. That's fantastic. Just don't parrot the same crap every day because you're not helping anything. I really am here to help people learn. This channel, for the amount of does not net make me any money. Does not at all. At all. And I don't do it for ego purposes, because I would rather just help people learn, because there's too much crap out there. NASDAQ, you did it at a double bottom, reached full targets. Do you have a bigger double on the NASDAQ? No, we do not. This is not a double. Okay? You can watch, especially if the S&P, this is where I will do, if you wanted to trade the NAS, you get a trigger in the S&P, and I'm going above key levels in the NAS, and one of the key levels in the NAS is 11,271. You can wait for even above the 37.5, but you start, if you wanted to trade the NAS, I would wait for the double bottom trigger in the S&P, and then use the clear path moves. And where does the clear path end? Look, you got the clear path, right? This section. And where does the clear path end? Well, here's your breakdown zone. Look at this, right in the middle between your 50 and 62.5. That's how you can trade another indice with that. So it doesn't matter, you don't have the double targets. There are other targets. You notice, though, there is a pretty big void even on the 15 minutes. So we don't have a lot of pausing bars until we get between the 50 and the 62.5. So that should tell you something. If you start getting some bullish triggers, especially I'd be watching if you break above this key area and then get a little pullback and then watch up. That would be a breakout move on the NASDAQ. And I have already established a target area, then fine-tuned it with, I have my target area based off harmonics, and then I fine-tuned it with clear path moves. It's not random why we teach certain things. And yes, if you're looking to front run it, there is a little zone here. There's a breakout zone. Many times you do get these zone moves. You can see them here, 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 watch, and reinforced here. So there's your zone. All right. We don't need to go bother. We don't need to go bother TomTom. Let's let TomTom be. We're not going to do the same thing to TomTom. And I have no animosity to TomTom. It's just aggravating. If, you're welcome to go check out his channel, but don't troll him back, please. If he live streams, please don't do that. We don't need to do that here. Okay. Nike beat earnings and revenue, but it's down over 6%. They could have guided, or it's sell the news. Let's just peek in on Nike. Thank you for putting that in. Again, it's too hard for me to follow all the stuff. So they did beat. Woo! They must have guided lower. That's a move. That's not just an earnings. They must have. Yeah, so minor beat. Not big, but minor. But that, they must have. So you had the potential double, which is now off the table. That's why a lot of times I'll wait for these things. I'd rather miss a trade than try to. This is why you don't front run doubles either. Just because you have a potential double going into earnings, you don't go, I might as well just buy because there's a potential. Nope. Nope. Remember, we had that really nice double top. I have it off from earlier. That was a thing of beauty for Nike, which gave you early warning signs back in January of this year. And now, so another example, Nike's heading lower. We had the targets. Does that mean this lower move is still a continuation from this double top? No, it is not. This is a new move. So I can't say, hey, the double top continues to work in our, no, it's over. This is a continuation move. below the 200 week. All right. Will this retest COVID lows? And look, you see, I mean, this is why you got to learn to start trusting this stuff, or at least do your own research. Back in June, the close under the 62.5. Look at the little bounce. Where'd it go to? What do I have up here? I have the weekly. What's up here? The weekly rotation zone and prior harmonics and prior. Let's combine some topics. It's more important to do some teaching sometime than constantly analyze, because you guys, everyone can analyze their starting their own charts if you're learning. So support, little broken with resistance, confirmed with resistance, return to the rotation zone, return to the 50% harmonic after closing below the 62.5, trading between them, breakdown. So we should, under a continuing sell-off, well, this will probably retest the COVID lows areas easily because of probabilities. But look, 89.14, you're going to at least see this 87.5 harmonic. And if you're, let's see where the longer term extensions went. There you go. So there's your next target cluster area. Then below that, this would be minor support. This would be my next key major target. That's how you dissect a stock chart. So would I be rushing in even on a bounce play to do Nike long term? No, not at all. Thank you. Guidance was bad. All right, you. What's your channel, George? What's your channel? I mean, I love to see what people do. Hey, Kratos, I wanted to ask you, how do you decide which swing high or low to use for retracement harmonics? For example, on the ES, would you use either September 13th or August 16th on the daily, or both can work? When you're first learning, here's what I'm going to stress so you don't get too many lines on it. All right? September 13th, you're going to want to use the most recent, all right, and the longest term. So, the longest term one is easy. It's going to be your major swing highs and swing lows. So your major swing high was back in January. Your major swing low is still June. Why is it still June? Because we don't have a major pausing bar yet. We might form one if we get a rally, then we'd update it. Your most recent major swing I'd utilize on the next longest term would be the 16th. I would not utilize the 13th. You're going to get too many lines, and this is the next major one. And then your minor, so your two most recent on the majors is this one, and the longest is this one. Most recent on the minor, I would be using still your reverse harmonics. Why your reverse harmonics? Because this is the most minor levels going down when you haven't broken, especially when you've gone back down to between 75 and 100. It's really nice to use in case you do push below here. It's nice to use the reverse harmonics. Now I will see, I have on some of these. These are the reverse harmonics right here. Let me just delete them and redraw them. These are the reverse. Now, sometimes I will use others based off of doing stuff that I've done for years. But for an intro, don't draw every swing with harmonics. You'll have lines everywhere and you won't know which ones are higher probabilities. And as always, the longer term ones at major turning points are higher probabilities than just random little key levels in between. And also, look for what I call clusters. Clusters are when you have another significant thing involved, whether it be the end of a clear path move, a breakout, a breakdown zone, a major moving average. That can make it a cluster, or a retracement and an extension at the same time, or a significant level. Hope that makes sense, Kratos. The S shape, so the three moving averages, green, blue, orange crossover, just like an MACD. No. I use the orange and blue are for a concept called the rotation zones. We watch for, especially in higher time frames or in strongly trending markets, we watch for rotation moves in the direction of the trend. Now, when orange is below blue, we're on bearish. So we've been in bearish mode just based off of that since back in February. So it's overall selling rallies. You can see when you're in bullish mode, rotation zone dip, 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 dip. I start watching for major, especially in the longer term. Now we triggered this. I'll watch on the daily for areas of pausing or topping formations within a daily rotation zone. So the daily rotation zone shifted back to shorter term bearish after this bullish run up. And you don't just buy crosses. We don't buy crosses. It's helping to keep us on the right side, and it's a really easy thing to glance at. Don't say every night, because no, they don't do it every night. They've been going in the direction of the trend. Would I see, well, what do you think my answer is going to be, George? Am I just going to randomly buy the futures here? No. What happens, though, if you get a 1 hour close above 38.72? Is that a buy? Yes, that would trigger a double bottom play. So then, would I favor a rally overnight? Yes. Unless that triggers, no. Is it just buy because we bounced into the close? Not by my book. We didn't even get a 4 hour buy signal. What is interesting is a close above here. Technically a close above the last bar, but it's better if you wait for the close above this prior bar. No, actually not above the last bar. Above this prior bar, sorry, I misspoke. It would be above this 9 a.m. bar. A close above there is also a 4 hour buy signal on a 4 hour close. The double can be traded off of 1 hour. A 4 hour trigger would also be on that same, happens to be the same level. It's not always that way. It just happens to be. So there's two separate buy signals at the same point. However, one can be triggered off the 4 hour. One can only be triggered off. One can be triggered off the 1 hour. Another one can only be triggered off the 4 hour. Well, hey, Sterling, didn't Einstein, wasn't one of his mantras, stocks only go up? Wasn't that what Einstein was famous for? Or am I thinking of something else? Am I thinking of a different Einstein? He had the theory of relativity and stocks only go up. Can somebody correct me if I'm wrong about Einstein? Yeah, there's that. So we'll see something with consumer discretionary. Beautiful. Okay, Nas. Kratos, let me ask before I go on to that, or we could do that over the weekend or something else. I don't want to get down that rabbit. Oh, okay. All right, I'll take a look for you. I instructions for my high school classes so I don't have to repeat myself all day. That is a novel concept. Maybe I should do that. What did you teach in high school? I guess I can look at your channel, but what do you teach? I wanted to be a teacher. Physics, math. I don't think I ruled that out by me fitting in with the other teachers. So I nixed that idea. Didn't think that would go over well. I'm glad I could teach you something, Kratos. What you must be talking about? I'm confused. All right, I've confused myself. You wouldn't fit. I only made it 3 years teaching. That's confirmed. I'd probably go on a rant and get escorted out of the school. And trust me, I go on rants in my personal life. It's not just a streaming thing. My wife will attest to that. She'll be doing the volume knob. She'll be like, I've gotten rants at dinner parties. That's why I'm no longer invited places. You don't want me to show up at your dinner party if you're not ready for an earful. Can I teach physics or math? I haven't. I was actually pretty good at physics and math. I stopped it once I got through the whole series of differential equations. Remember, I have an engineering degree. You pretty much have to be good at physics and math, especially in electrical engineering. So I didn't go into chemistry. I didn't go chemical engineering because, yes, I was okay in chemistry, but chemistry was not my go-to thing. Physics and math were my go-to things. So, yes, I could have taught physics and math. I went through. I got pretty far. I stopped at the theoretical math because it wasn't necessary. Thank you, Josh. I learned you can rant to high schoolers. Did you? I did watch 2000 Mules. I did. So I'm a nerd. How do you classify a nerd? You wouldn't have guessed that already? Because I've gone over 10,000 double patterns. You sort of have to be a little strange to do that. I've gone through patterns upon patterns upon patterns in the markets and running stuff and programming stuff and testing stuff out. You gotta be a little, I guess, nerdish or geekish. I don't know what's the difference. I don't look like a nerd, I think. Maybe I do. I don't know. Oh, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started, George. Oh, must have been talking about Einstein. I still, markets always go up. Second to the theory of relativity. The Star Trek thing. Is that what? I don't even know. I don't know what box I fit into. I'm what? tie-dye wearing, Grateful Dead listening to computer engineering guy who went to the trading floors. What is that? What do I fit into? With a shaved head, I don't know what I fit into. Also, I did have a mohawk in high school. Multiple ear piercings, mohawk, dyed yellow before I went fully shaved head. So what box do I fit in? Combat boots, the whole 9 yards back in the 80s. Weird mix listening to Grateful Dead and punk. Black Flag all the way. Dead Kennedys, Circle Jerks. Oh, I was interesting time. So you tell me where I fit in, because I have no idea where I fit in. Notes. Still watching for that break below 111.15. Other than that, there's not much going on in notes. Dollar index, we finally got the pullback to the rotation zone and the 25% harmonic. So this is where I will start. Not cycles, not yet the bottom, but I'm going to start paying attention to. We can easily see some more pullback here. Remember, we're still far off from the weekly, but I will start watching for reversal patterns. We already looked at the VIX. Crude, besides that short-term double that played out, nothing else much happening today. Natty Gas still holding. Natty Gas, that double is now a 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you wonder, you go up in time frame, is there a double there? That's yuck. So, Natty Gas double, no. Especially since it tripled before confirming. Still keep an eye on the yen, US dollar, Japanese yen for a break higher. That could be very interesting. Euro, remember we had the patterns, the double top never triggered, and that was the potential double top after the double bottom was triggered. Little pullback. Remember your stops. Your conservative stops on this side would be below the 62.5 on a closing basis. Never even close. And then first stop raise target and second target hit. And the second target was the major one I was focusing on for reward to risk. And that pullback gave you the proper reward to risk entry. Why was I focusing on that second target as a major one, which means unwind more of the position than less of the position, because you're at the breakdown zone. What's interesting is the third target is just behind the end of the advanced clear path, or nearly advanced clear path. So that's where we sit. Bitcoin, I know somebody brought up Bitcoin. It's not doing anything. Really has to still get a close above 19,651 before I watch for the continued rally. Tesla, which got the crap kicked out of it, but still holding up on the major level. Still holding up. Barely. Going to be watching for a move up, then a rollover play in this, but still holding. Still needed to get below this 265.73. So not much else going on there. Apple, by the way, did close on the daily basis below the 62.5. I would not be, unless we really have a bust down move, would not be aggressively shorting it into there. I'd be watching for a bounce up and a rollover play. But we probability wise favor a return to 134.77. This is still well off its June lows. But probability wise, it now favors that return, and then I'm expecting it to break lower at some point. So the 62.5 can be used as a resistance level, and then through there I'd be watching the daily rotation zone, this breakdown zone, and another longer term harmonic coming in at that 150 area. Let's see. Henry Rollins. I've seen Henry multiple times. I've also seen his spoken word, a bunch of stuff. But man, I used to love going to see him in the late 80s as the Rollins band. Oh, Henry rocks. His spoken word, if you have not heard Henry Rollins' spoken word, fantastic stuff. Where's Bob? Bob has no internet. He's in Naples. You can imagine. Go look at some photos. Where else do we sit? That's about it. SQQQ. Then I'll wrap this up. You get these oversized moves. All right. SQQQ. Well, I'd still do the analysis. If you get that NAS breaking above here, judge it off the futures. You get the NAS breaking above about this 11,276 area. I'd be watching for the breakdown play in the SQQQ then. Sorry. I don't like doing the analysis off of these ultra funds because it does not work as well because of the leverage. But from just on here, if you're just trading this, you start breaking below this 57.75 area. Be targeting the 56 area and then the gap fill play. If we rally with the NAS tomorrow. You're better, though, to do your analysis on just the overall. If you don't have the futures, then do it on the NASDAQ cash. Your analysis will hold up better, and you can fine-tune the levels for stop and targets based off of the SQQQ. But you're better to do your analysis either on the futures. And here's why. All right, so here's why I don't like it as much also. Is pound going up? It's counterintuitive. It's mainly because the dollar's pulling back. There's a little pressure on the dollar. That's really it. There's increased confidence that they're going to put some floor in, but it should actually be negative for the pound, Richard. This should be negative for the pound. It's just a short-term bounce. And it's mainly because you're getting that pullback in the dollar index. But them going into long end of the curve QE is actually negative for the pound longer term again. They are very volatile. And who asked for the Paul? You did. Just making sure. And here's the example. Here's why I don't like them either. So if we look at the NASDAQ, see this? June lows, retest, right? So this has gone round trip. Look at the SQQQs. Has it gone round trip? Not even close. It's because of the way these things trade, because the inherent degradation of them. That's why I'm telling people you're better to trade. You're better. Actually, it's even better from just trading an instrument because, and I get nothing from this. I get nothing from the CME to promote this or anything else. You're better to learn to trade the micro contracts, S&P and the NASDAQ. You can trade them both ways, really. They're super liquid. You don't need to worry about trading an ultra pro short. You can just trade the micros short. You're going to get better fills. You're going to get better price action. You don't have to worry. Look, let's say I was trying to call a bottom in here, and let's just hypothetically say, okay, down here I'm like, all right, we're breaking down. I think we're going to retest the June lows, so I'm buying this. Well, in the futures, we retested the June lows, right? In the SQQQ, nope. So I just theoretically got underperformance because I was trading this. That's why I don't like it. That's why I would stress. Now, just trading the spiders and the Qs, fine, but I don't like these ultra pro short stuff. And still, I like trading I understand people trading the spiders and the Qs because they have a stock account, and I'll put them on in my stuff too, especially for some longer term plays, because I can do interesting stuff with them, especially with options against them. However, for just regular trading, you're better to trade the micros. And I know some people have learned to trade the micros in here. Open a micro account. If you have a big stock account, take a little. You can open a micro account for not that much. Don't over leverage, but trade the micros. I mean, on this, let's just go in hypothetical. Let's say you spot the lows and just ran it up to these highs. Right? You didn't capture this whole move. Oh, I didn't. Well, I should. Sorry, I don't see the chat. So yeah. Look, I trade the ETF also, and it's true. Only look at the index to make decisions, or the futures are even better. Trade the micros. I like futures. Richard, thank you for that super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Why does I get a lot of people from overseas? Why is everyone overseas just smarter? I get a lot of people from overseas. I like that. Yeah, SPX options chain is very liquid. Pretty liquid, it's very liquid. What do you think the big houses are putting on their major hedge positions in? SPX options, a lot of them. Yes, they will do some stuff in the spiders too, but a lot of it's done in the SPX options. Oh, SPY too. There we go. What margin? What's the leverage on the... I don't even know what the leverage is. I'd have to look. In my futures account. But I don't even... I just have my money in there, and I don't exceed my margin requirements, so I don't even know what leverage it is anymore. I mean, the S&P, what trades at... Forget right now. What is the leverage on just the big contract? What's the multiplier? I forget at this point. So I'd have to look it up on the CME site. I mean, I don't even hit the maintenance margin, so it doesn't matter to me. But I'd have to look up what it is. Micros are better. Never trade reverse VIX ETNs because you'll lose 100% of your cash. Agreed with that also, Christo. If you have a smaller account, there's no PDT rule on futures or future options. You can day trade with less than 25. Yeah, you can day trade with less. There's no pattern day. What Sterling is talking about is the pattern day trading rule, which hits on stock accounts. And you have to have a 25K minimum in your stock account if you're going to be a pattern day trader. Futures does not have that. You can get a futures account for 5K and trade the micros and minis. And you will have no issues with, unless you're doing something stupid with leverage, you will have no issues with a margin or maintenance. And yes, there's the tax benefits as well. But I'm not getting into that because I'm not a accountant and I'm not your financial planner. But there are potential tax benefits from trading the futures. You're using margin, but not like stock margin. It's a margin account. It has to be a margin account because the futures, by the nature of leverage, I just don't know what the core leverage is. But you have initial margin, you have maintenance margin for putting on your trades. But the micros are so little, and you could put on a pretty decent size in micros for, and then unwind partial positions. So yes, you are using a margin account, but it's not the same. Don't think of it as like stock margin. All futures accounts are margined because you're using futures leverage. All right. You have a bigger account, you don't need margin. The nature of futures are inherently you're leveraged by margin. You don't get like, all right, stocks, if you put in 100K and you're trading 2-to-1 leverage, you could trade with 200K. If you're using pattern day traders, you could trade with 400K. You can trade with 4-to-1 leverage. Futures don't work that way. You're naturally levered just by your account, but if you put in 10 grand, you can't exceed 10 grand in margin. AMP futures you can open. Well, there you go. I don't use AMP futures. Don't know anything. And you have an 85%. So you could go. I would not recommend a $400 account, by the way. You know, you got at least, you could probably, what you can do and what you should do, you should probably at least have a few $1,000 account so you can trade with some decent stop sizes. But you're going to want to, it's not that hard to get approved for a futures account. And you can trade really well. And you can start practicing with futures. Boy, it's really nice. And I'd recommend trading the micros. Don't worry about the minis. I'd rather people trade bigger size in the micros than smaller size in the minis because bigger size in the micros you can modify your positions easier, and you can do position sizing. Yeah, you see, I'm surprised they let you do that. Wow. But if that's their account, uh, and I also recommend sweeping out your accounts too. Do not. I'd also recommend this on a regular basis, like a monthly basis. Sweep out your accounts from excess profits. All right, I am going to get going. Sterling trades Russell Micro. Oh, today. I thought you said daily. They're. Oh. Oh, you've doomed us, Sterling. All right, so that's why I think I would stress trading the futures over some of these weird pro short things and everything else. You don't need any weird rules to also go short the futures. You can just hit the bid. And with liquidity the way, even though liquidity is a lot lighter now, you can work orders. You're welcome, Jacob. All right, I lost track of time. All right. With that, and it's really good to position size. See you guys on Twitter tomorrow. We're expecting a tropical storm. Well, oh yeah, it's good. It's hitting South Carolina. So stay safe, Sterling, who's in North Carolina. Krista, let's just give some information to other people. I do this yesterday. I made 360. Today I placed 2 trades. First with a $100 stop, then second with a $100 stop. I lost 200, but made 160 total. So are you talking net? So you made 360 yesterday. You lost 200 today. So you're still up 160. You made money. And that's why you're not going to win on every trade. Anybody who preaches you're going to win on every trade is not real. Oh, unless stocks always go up. But you want to put the probabilities in your favor. And then once you know the probabilities and reward to risk, and I'll have to put something together on probabilities and reward to risk for some of the newer people to make sure you're constantly have your mathematical expectation correct. Yeah, your net 160 profit. Well, only Pelosi. Yes, only. Don't even get me started. You're trying to get me started. All right, with that, I will see everybody. Remember, 30 minutes before the open tomorrow. 30 minutes. Be aware, which is also another reason to trade the futures, because as you're waiting, you're trying to trade the spiders or the Qs pre-market. Garbage. Trade the futures pre-market. Well, because it's not pre-market for the futures. But it's a lot better. You could take advantage of stuff like this if you're trying to trade PCE numbers. It's a lot easier in the futures than trading the SPYs or the Qs pre-market. Much better liquidities. Much better. And I'll leave it at that. Bye for now.